got a very special county council recap with somebody who's not even on council. But the biggest news coming out of Monday night was talking about this new land purchase up around Pattersville. Is that right?
Well, it's really interconnected. The first thing is the county's purchasing over 20 acres of land right behind the dam at Piedmont. And Piedmont is going to be one of the fastest growing areas in Anderson County. You've had some major developers move into that area, and they've purchased a lot of that property, and they have some very ambitious plans. Some of those old mill buildings are already spoken for people who want to rent in the new / condominium apartment developments that are going there. And so we've long wanted a point on the river that would be compatible with Dolly Cooper. So we have the launch at Dolly Cooper. Now, approximately 9 miles away, we will have a launch, which is the reason for the purchase of that land, and a nature park right there, and you don't have to cross any dam. It's just a straight shot. So you will be able to go from one handicapped accessible launch to the other. You can turn around and go back if you want to. You can kayak, you can canoe, you can do whatever you want to. It will also provide a point of access for the Piedmont Fire Department because they have a rescue boat that operates on that Saluda River. And until this point, they weren't able to do that. We have worked for a long time trying to work with Greenville County that we would have ours at Dolly Cooper and they would put one on the other side of the river and do it together. But they don't seem to have any interest in that. So we're just taking upon ourselves to do that ourselves. And we're taking money that we received from the sale of the Pickens TTI building and purchasing that property with some other funds that we have. So there'll be no new funds, no tax increase or anything associated with that part. We hope to close on it after council gave us permission within the next 3 weeks. We'll be doing a phase 1 environmental. But it will be, in essence, a sister park to Dolly Cooper. The work that was approved at Dolly Cooper is we're going to put a permanent pier at Dolly Cooper, as well as putting a walking trail, a hardened surface walking trail, the length of Dolly Cooper Park beside the river. So all of that is really of a piece. So we're going to do that. The other thing that we did last night, recreation related, also substantial, is we're going to be building 2 new walls at Haney Park on Broadway Lake. And that's going to be done with a combination of funds that have been previously budgeted plus monies from our accommodations tax. And our accommodations tax is money that is a fee put on every hotel room that is rented in Anderson County. So you can see where most of that money comes from people who don't live in Anderson County. So all of those projects are going to improve recreation in Anderson County. That was probably the biggest things that we did last night.
What are the timetables on those two? Do you know at all?
Well, we have already bid out the project on Broadway Lake. So we will be awarding the contract here in the next 2 weeks. So that work can start. Because when you do work at Broadway Lake, you have to do it simultaneously while you drop the water in Broadway Lake. And so we've got this kind of timed precisely when that's going to happen. And that should begin sometime in December. Because the people on Broadway Lake don't like the lake to be dropped. And if you do drop it, they would prefer it be in the wintertime. So it's a tight frame to get that work done, but going to be 2 beautiful walls to replace the concrete block mess that we have now. They're going to be serpentine shaped, which is nice. In addition to that, on Broadway Lake, we're going to take down the old boathouse, which is rotten, and we're going to remove another structure that used to be the old security guard house out there, which is rotten. So we're going to take care of those 2 things. That will be one phase of continuous phases at Haney Park on Broadway Lake. So those were the big things we did last night. We also passed a resolution supporting the high-speed rail project between Atlanta and Charlotte. And one of the routes, and there are 3, one's above Anderson, the other 2 are below. The 2 below have stops in Anderson, which we kind of favor.
And those are the 2 fastest ones, if I'm
And
not
those are the 2 fastest ones. One of those would be 1 hour from downtown Atlanta to Anderson, and then 1 hour from Anderson to downtown Charlotte. And I think that would open up a whole host of things that you could do. I mean, a lot of people commute an hour or more to work every day now. I mean, it's just commonplace. But if you really wanted to work in Atlanta, You could live in Anderson, live in beautiful southern Anderson, and zip back and forth.
And people that commute in big metropolitan areas are just, that's part of their work day. They work on the trains back and forth.
They
It's not
work
like
on
you
the
gotta
trains
drive.
back and forth.
Here you drive an hour if you want to
Yeah,
know.
or you decompress for an hour, or you do a whole host of things for that hour. But you're not driving. You're just getting on, and then you get off. And so we're hoping that comes to fruition. It's not going to happen in the next 5 years, but you got to start somewhere. And we're closer now than we ever have.
Back to the Dolly Cooper, do we have a timetable? I mean, that's for
Dolly Cooper, we've already done the survey for the trail, and we have an idea about the other things. We're hoping that all of that will be done by May 2nd, which is going to be the first fun day put on by the Powdersville Business Council and Councilman Jimmy Davis. So we're looking forward to that
that's
happening.
in time for next year's Saluda River
And
Rally.
absolutely in time for next year's Saluda River Rally. So we're hoping to get those things done. Other things we did last night was approve solar farm, which we love solar farms because they take land that was vacant and increase the tax base that the county gets. And it's also being used increasingly as a way for somebody to hold on to a family farm. Another source of income. It's not quite as good as them knocking on your door and said, do you mind if I put up a cell tower? But it's not too bad either. So we're still working along those lines. And then we had a couple of other small land use things. One, a potential winery on one side of the county, which would be a little winery and a little event center, something we don't have in Anderson. So those were approved last night. So that's basically all of the big items that took place. We also received a report from the Keep America Beautiful group, which was a wonderful report. They've been very active in Anderson County. We appreciate everything that those volunteers do, especially them going out and snatching up over 100 of these signs that you see everywhere. We buy houses, get some free insurance, those signs like that. So they're really doing a good job for the county, so we're happy about that. And we also honored Coach Gary and Mrs. Adams for all the hard work they've done at Crescent High School for over 40 years. And it was a wonderful chance to honor them for everything they've done. And they've done so much. I mean, not only were they coaches, but mentors and role models and guides. And, you know, they were just incredible for that community. So we were able to do that last night.